I think Twitter may be destroying the world in a bunch of different ways. While I am concerned about the restrictions on speech and the censorship of conservatives and moderates, I should say moderates, not even conservatives, because the people who believe in the fringe rule base of Twitter are few and far between. It's like a very small minority. That's going to be a big focal point for my main channel video, but look at this story. Store withdraws chocolate ducklings over racism complaint. First, my friends in the United Kingdom, you are lost. I am sorry. I'm not surprised that Sargon of Akkad and Count Dankula joined UKIP. And I think Paul Joseph Watson did too. Because my God, when I see a story about UK grocery chain Waitrose apologizing because they were accused of racism over the names of 3 chocolate ducklings. But let me just point something out. You have Fluffy, Crispy, and Ugly. Crispy! This one in the middle is Crispy? The white one? Is that a cracker reference? No, apparently not. Apparently the outrage is over this one being called Ugly. Now, why on earth would they call the splotchy, chocolate raspberry duck ugly? Could it be that it's literally splotchy and they were literally just calling it ugly? But guess what? Do you know what the complaint was? This is the dark duckling. Therefore, they're racist. And they had to apologize and remove their dark chocolate, presumably dark chocolate raspberry, trio of Easter ducks. That's how insane things are getting. But to make it worse, the complaint is apparently one random person who I don't care about. Now, UK, you guys, man, I am sorry. You've got some, you had a good run. At one point, you nearly took over the whole world, colonized most of it. Resulting in, yes, one of the greatest nations, if not the greatest nation, America. But we left and we put together a Bill of Rights, Constitution, and said, this is, it's kind of, it's almost like we budded off of what once was the Great British Empire. And now you guys have just, woof. But hold on. Although it's fun to poke fun at our cousins across the pond, here in the United States, we're dealing with basically the same things. When a store withdraws a chocolate duck because the type of chocolate is racist, you think it's crazy. But admittedly, it's not an act of government. It's an act of culture. The store, not wanting to be offensive, decided to take this down. Why? Well, because this woman said, Crispy, Fluffy, and Ugly, trio of Easter egg ducklings at Waitrose. Ugly is the dark one on the right. Overheard woman saying, this is not right. I agree. Doesn't look good at all. Thousands of other options. Why ugly? Because of the ugly duckling, perhaps? See, the story of the ugly duckling, which the story of the ugly duckling is actually hilarious. And it's like, there's a really funny joke. You know the story of the ugly duckling. It's like all the ducks make fun of the one that's ugly, and then the ugly one turns out to grow up to be a beautiful swan. And so, like, the moral of the story, I guess, is that if you have the right genetics and you grow up to be attractive, But no. I mean, if the story was about, like, the ugly duckling working out and getting fit and being successful, that'd probably be a better story. But it's not. It's just like you were ugly as a kid and you grew up to be hot and now everyone's jealous of you. I'm like, so you're basically saying you might be out of luck? But anyway, Waitrose has apologized in a short statement seen by CNN. We are very sorry for any upset caused by the name of this product. It was absolutely not our intention to cause any offense. Who was offended? One random person on Twitter that no one cares about? Who is this person? How many followers does she have? She has 112 followers. Welcome to this. We live in the mirror dimension. We live in the upside down where back in the day, this is 112 followers. You know what that looks like to me? Friends. Right? Imagine back in the day, if a random person showed up to a store and said, I find the name of this chocolate duck offensive, they'd say, what do you want us to do? In fact, I'd be willing to bet if you went to a local deli and said the name of this candy or whatever is offensive, they'd tell you, I'm sorry. What do you want me to do about it? But lo and behold, the power that is Twitter, taking a random person who is of no political or, public newsworthiness. They're not an influencer. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to some people with no followers, but this looks to be just a regular old person. In fact, I got to admit, too, like, you shouldn't bend over backwards to remove things from your store because someone with followers complains, too. But that, I kind of understand it when someone with massive influence causes problems. You get scared, you're going to get brigaded. But here we have just a regular person going to the store, taking a picture, and boom, candy's gone. Candy's gone. We removed the product from sale several weeks ago. Now, I brought up a point a second ago about how it's not an act of law, it's an act of culture. And as much as it is fun to poke fun at the UK, my God, we are living in the upside down. Check this out. New NYC Chinese restaurant draws swift backlash to racist language. Wait. Racist language? What could she possibly have said? Newly opened Lucky Lee's is facing backlash to racist language, like an Instagram post that claimed dishes like lo mein at Chinese American restaurants leave diners bloated and icky. How is that racist language? She's criticizing a style of American-made food. Have you ever had real food from a real country? Let me explain something. Chinese food, Thai food, Indian food. These things are not inherently from those places. This is how insane it's absolutely gotten. Most Chinese food restaurants in the United States are recipes that are not Chinese. Okay? Some of them are. Like, I get it. But here, excuse me. There was a Chinese restaurant I used to eat at, and they had an American menu and a Chinese menu. I grew up with on Korean food, not Chinese food, admittedly, and I had a friend who was Filipino. And so I actually got to see real Asian cuisine, which was dramatically different. In fact, do you want to know what I ate when I went to Thailand? You've had pad thai before, maybe. It's one of the most popular dishes on Grubhub. Well, pad thai is dramatically different in America than what it is in Thailand, even when it's made by Thai people. Why? Americans like different flavors. When I was in Thailand, yes, they had pad thai. It was actually rather delicious, but it was much thinner and lighter than the American counterpart. However, most people just ate a simple steamed meat with rice. I went to almost all of the restaurants I went to, actual local like Thai restaurants, you'd get like a piece of meat and rice. So they had, and they sell sticky rice on the street corner, on the streets, the street vendors. It's awesome. But the point I'm trying to make is, this woman in New York City, she wanted to make a fast casual Chinese restaurant that was healthier, less greasy, less salty. Saying food leaves you bloated and icky is not racist. You know why? Because it's not just Chinese American food that leaves you bloated and icky. You can get bloated and icky from any place that's really greasy and salty. You'll get bloated and icky. It just doesn't feel good to have all that heavy grease and everything sitting in your stomach. Now, I will say, yes, there are some stereotypes and offensive stereotypes and tropes about Chinese food restaurants. But am I going to fault a woman for saying silly things and making silly jokes? I'd probably just ask her to chill out a little bit, maybe. Instead, they're review bombing her Yelp page. And what's really funny is, when something happens with like Captain Marvel or a movie, you get all the people in the media shrieking, oh, the review bombing, the review. Yeah, okay, well, you guys, the left does it too. The left and the right, whatever you want to call it. Even though the people who hated Captain Marvel weren't necessarily right-wing, which is weird. And I mean weird as in like, that's how things are being drawn. Are you an identitarian or are you not? Because that's now apparently left or right-wing. And then it's really confusing when the alt-right is identitarian, which holds the same view. I don't even know anymore. But they have all these negative comments, talking about how the food is bad and but they're really mad because she's racist. And it's like, dude, was the food actually bad or was the food good and you're lying because you want to destroy a business because they think you're racist? Well, ny.eater.com says she's very racist. She does say things that made me like shake my head, right? Certainly not criticizing greasy Chinese food. I love Chinese food. It's delicious. But come on, we all know it's super sugary, greasy, and it's like, it's fried and it's covered in sugar sauce. So yes, it's delicious, but sure, yeah, it makes you feel kind of like, oh man. But that's not what the food people in China actually eat. When I was in, I was in Hong Kong Admittedly, not the same as like mainland China. And the food I ordered, it was literally like, I think it was steamed duck and rice. Not overly complicated, not covered in salt. This is like an American thing, right? They say, an Instagram post that was removed after eater questioned Haspel about it read, "We heard you're obsessed with lo mein but rarely eat it. You said it makes you feel bloated and icky the next day. Well, wait until you slurp up our high lo mein. Not too oily or salty." What? It's mind-blowing to me. You know why? When I order Chinese, I usually ask for light sauce because they like to, they take it, they put it in the wok, and then they put the sauce on it and shake it up. And it's kind of like boneless wings in a sense, where they drench the whole thing in sauce. I don't like it. So I ask for light sauce or sauce on the side, and then I drizzle it myself because admittedly, a lot of the restaurants, but I'll tell you what, I don't think it's racist to point this out because Chinese restaurants are not doing this because it's their culture. They're doing it because it's our culture. My God, why are they loading up sugar sauce and salt on fried chicken? Because Americans love greasy, salty, fried food. Well, now we're seeing someone who wants to open a restaurant to serve an Americanized version of what we're calling Chinese food and make it less greasy and salty. But of course, that's cultural appropriation and it's racist. And now they're targeting her for it, calling it a racist trope. It's like, my God, man. You know what? If you don't like it, don't eat it. I don't understand. But, that's what the mob is all about. So I'm going to have another video coming up at 4 p.m. And I'm trying. It's complicated. But what we're seeing is it's kind of an offshoot of this subject, that social media is skewing our perspective. Like when one person can tweet this out and even get ratioed, but the Waitrose bends over and says, "You got it. We'll get rid of this." Something is wrong. And you know what gets worse is when this phenomenon hits politics and you end up with national politicians who are supposed to be representing your interests bending over backwards for one random person on Twitter or the outrage mob. So anyway, stick around. That'll be on youtube.com/Timcast, which is in fact a different channel from this one. I will see you then.